Thank you so much once again for staying tuned on Smart 24 TV. My name is Anthony, your host. Now I'm seated here with Mr. Devin Calvin Bateme, an analyst and economist who works with Crested Capital, one of the renowned stockbrokers in Uganda, and the stock brokerage firm that actually spearheaded the Airtel IPO last year. Now, Mr. Calvin has a lot of experience with trading and also helping people get to understand the market, and also, of course, reaching out to people through daily reports, through weekly reports, and Crested Capital. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Just looking at the year 2024, I want to know your expectations because at the moment, there's been a lot of speculation, given that last year we had an IPO, which is always exciting. Whenever we have an IPO, we have a couple of new investors, a couple of changes. And this year, we don't know whether we'll have an IPO, but for sure, there's a lot that has been happening, both in the equity market and in the bond market. So looking at the year 2024, what should an investor or a saver be looking out for in this year?
Thank you very much for that question. In Uganda, if I look at the past 10 years, and if I look at the mode of IPOs we've been having, most of them have been far and apart. Yeah, apart from the two telecom that listed back to back, because we had Supply 2018, 2021, MTN, and 2023 Airtel. For an IPO, until it's announced, you cannot be for sure. And even if I was working on an IPO, I couldn't tell you because we only make it public when it's ready to be public. Yeah, but ideally, what should be looking at is we expect MTN to list the 7% that was not listed during the IPO. The balance of that should be listed. So we are expecting them to come sometime this year. As and when that will be up, the company will actually communicate that. So it will be, because it will be public. So everyone will get to know when Airtel is, MTN is selling that bit of the ownership to the public. 2024, because we've seen very many clubs coming up and the like, so we expect more participation from the public in the capital markets, because the awareness has been going out there. So more and more people are coming into the markets, so we expect more trading activity and more understanding of what actually takes place on the markets. Yes, so that's ideally it about what we should expect from the public on that. As a company, this is our 20th year actually. We are celebrating 20 years in the market, and yes, and we shall. You've seen that we've taken up. We are embracing the new trends, the social media and the like. So putting out information, because ideally we've been doing like to our clients majorly. We all usually communicate it to those who are our clients. Now we are opening it up to the general public. Yeah. So we are opening up a WhatsApp channel, we are opening up social media pages and like that, because the public has shifted to the social media. So as a company, we also turning to that space and tap into that market and all that attention that people have in the social media space. So expect more of that data out there in that format. So we are simplifying, because on the emails that we send out, we have huge reports that maybe what we normally say omuntu awansi might not actually understand, but on the social media space, we are actually simplifying it for people to understand. Because in our report, you may find that offer and bid. So when you come to social media, you shall change it to those buying and those selling. Yes, bull market and the bear market and the like. So we are simplifying it to say that this is actually what you want you to understand. So with that knowledge in the public, we shall maybe have more participation in the capital markets or in the stock market. That is.
Well, still talking about what you're doing currently, in as far as information dissemination is concerned, one of the challenges we're still having is the low liquidity levels and low number of local investors or retail investors, especially looking at the equity markets. In that regard, how are you helping with information dissemination as Crested Capital, and how has the impact been for you in terms of seeing that people understand this information and people get to absorb and embrace the information you're giving? Because one of the challenges we still face today is that people are still alien to investing in financial markets. At least 90% or 90+% of the Ugandans in a normal person's language, they don't understand this entire concept. So what efforts are you putting to be able to help such kinds of people?
As you mentioned, and as is widely known, information is key. Because as an institution, we don't like people investing from the ignorance bit of it. So by way of simplifying, because we all usually reach out, because by regulation we don't market. That's why you've not seen an advert for Crescent Capital. So when most of these people come to us and request for maybe presentations, insights in that, and we also carry out on a on monthly basis, various departments carry out calls on Zoom, sometimes on Teams and all the other platforms. Even we are looking at having Twitter Spaces on that, on just educating the public about what do you need to do to invest in the market. What have been the return? What does it mean? What does it mean? How to read financial statements actually? Because one thing in the market that you must be able to understand how your performance of the market of the listed entities, and this is also understanding the financial that have been released and starting March going forward in the Q2, we shall see most companies releasing results. So if you don't understand, because you must understand what your company is doing, the returns they are going to give you, the dividends, what does it mean? And actually, I may be just speaking it bluntly here that dividends, but most people don't know what a dividend actually means. But simply, it's just a return, just part of the profitability that the company makes that is given back to the shareholder. So we create that understanding on these meetings we have. So even if there's a club out there that needs to invest, or a circle, or even a company, you reach out to us and we can always send a team to explain investment ideally to, because if you most people are passive, it's not good for us. But if you understand what you're doing, most people become active. So it's always important for you to become either passive or an active investor after understanding what you're actually investing in. Yes.
Well, finally, looking at the dynamics in the market within the region, we've seen, for example, a Bank of Uganda announcing that there will be some changes to see that they increase access to the bond market as well. USE has introduced measures like the USE dollar ladder to kind of help the smaller companies also get to list. All these innovations and all these efforts that have been put together, do you think we are doing enough as a market and as you as the players in the market to ensure that we promote the saving culture and also investment in the financial markets?
That's rather a big question. Are we doing enough? Basically, it's a question that should be posed to the authority itself. That's the Capital Market Authority and the Uganda Securities Exchange, because ideally they are there to market the market. Yes, to market it, to give it to people. But ideally, what the market has done as the central bank is also easing accessibility to treasury bills and bonds. Also the USE has introduced direct market access, in that at the comfort of your home, you can use your phone to trade, to buy stocks. Yeah. So they have developed an app, that's the USE Photo app. Yeah. So you can download it on your Android phone. You can have it on web. Yeah. Because there's also you open an account and you're able to trade on the market. So with that, we see that most people will get involved in this trading. Yeah, basically that. So about the gap, because we can do enough, but is there also investor coming to us? Because if it is a two-way street, if I'm pushing and you're not pulling, then I'm pushing for nothing.
It's a relationship.
Yes, a relationship in that regard. But it also comes back to what returns is the market giving back to the. So if, because for you to attract investors, it's about the return. So if they said entities are also giving back a lot, as we saw in 2022, where all of them had a dividend, we also saw a spike in investment in the market. So as the results come out, if that there's also a return, then we shall also see the curve will also increase on the people participating in the market. Yes. So that's it. And also with the more understanding of the market, then we shall see more investment in the markets. Yes.
Well, you've intrigued me by at least mentioning the regulator. In Kenya, the rules were adjusted, especially the listing rules, to allow more listings. They have had an IPO drought for quite some time since the listing of the Fahari REIT. Now, you're looking at, in the past 5 years, they required at least 3 years of profitability. Now they have reduced that to one. And in Ugandan rules, I think we're still on the former. Do you think such changes are also necessary in our market to encourage new companies listing to keep the market excited?
Yeah, it is not it is it wouldn't be advisable for you to list a a loss making company, because at least if a company has been performing well and returning profit for the last 3 to 5 years, an investor will have confidence in investing in such a company. So by Kenya reducing it to 1 year, yeah, it could be 1 year, but they look into the company. What's because even if you look at the prospectus of a company, they also do projections and see that actually we have this, but you can that's just a projection. You never know what if another COVID comes around, and you can never tell the future, but you can project what's in the future depending on what you are providing. But ideally, yeah, if in more developed countries we see even shorter times to list. So ideally, yeah, the authority can look into reducing that. But you see, as the USE did, you see they are graded more, there are various segments on listing. You may not list on the main segment, but come through the maybe the USE dollar, and yes, you go into that into that space, and they prepare you to list on the main segment, so you can raise capital by that way, or you can even go into private PE firms and the like. So yeah, we encourage people to come to us, and we advise, because we also advise companies on how to source for money. So you can come to us, and we advise you on where to source. Do you want to list, or do you want a placement or something like that?
I'm so glad that you're here, and I've always wanted to have at least a piece of information shared with you, and I'm very, very grateful that you're here. Now, just to get a quick picture of what you are seeing at the moment in the financial markets industry in Uganda. Looking at the year 2023, we had the Airtel IPO. Now we're into the new year 2024. We're looking at Umeme's concession period actually getting done this year. What are your thoughts? What should people be expecting in terms of the financial markets in Uganda in the year 2024?
Yeah, actually, thanks for hosting me to begin with. And I'm glad to be here, I think, for the first time. So to try to your question, I think last year was quite busy. With an IPO that happens once in a blue moon, and then of course we struggled with the issues of liquidity in the economy, the issues of managing credit facilities for almost everyone. It was a crisis of its own, and then of course we had few movements outside the markets like DRC joining the ESC, and then Somalia also coming in, which was a good thing because it affects the entire bloc economically. But for the markets, I think 2024 has got a different proposition. So 2024 is going to be about soul searching. Why? Because the economy is struggling. So people must reposition their investments well. So there might be an IPO or a corporate bond or a rights issue or even a bus issue. But the biggest issues will be reposition the portfolio. For instance, if interest rates are still up, how much more should you be investing in treasury bonds vis-a-vis equities and real estate? I mean, should you be investing 60% into treasury bonds and then 30% equities, or even 10% to estate, or would you prefer to invest 70% in treasury bonds, then 20% equities, and then 10% of the portfolio in real estate? I mean, that's where the debate is going to be for starters, and the core issues will have to be the sort of government finances. I mean, do you as an investor feel the government is strong enough financially to honor its commitments on the day that it mobilizes both short term and long term? And then two, how resilient is the economy? Do you feel you can go out there, start something and keep it going without breaking your back? And then of course, how much equity do you have in your pocket? Do you have enough to invest in something without starving the next day, or failing to buy a milk for the kids? And then of course, you have to figure out short-term opportunities. I mean, we've hosted the NAM Summit, the Gift Plus Summit. There could be other events happening. We'll not bring in some money. So are you ready to tap into that, supplement your income? So I think those are going to be the biggest issues 2024 for any investor, whether they live in Kampala or in the village.
Well, Mr. Busulas, talking about the stock market, for example, in Uganda, one of the challenges we are still having, and in East Africa, is low liquidity. Low liquidity levels, a low number of retail investors, local investors, so to say. And this challenge has been there for quite a long time. Has the USE, in collaboration with the CMA, made enough efforts, or could they be making enough efforts towards improving the liquidity in the market? Because remember, a market that is not that liquid will always be less attractive. And so that's where we shall have always so many investors going to offshore investments and actually investing offshore rather than within our markets, because they know their money is going to be locked up there due to illiquidity. And this illiquidity is partly to blame on the dominance of, for example, institutional investors like NSSF, because they hold for a very long time. So what could be some of the probable solutions to this problem or challenge of illiquidity?
To begin with, I don't think the CMA and government at large has done enough to fix the problem. But the problem itself will cut across the ecosystem. What kind of investors do you have to begin with at the show level? What kind of clients do they have? Because they don't using their money alone, they are getting money from other places. Are they getting enough money to invest what they do? But on top of that, what is the biggest problem in this market? That the biggest investors you have are largely buy people who specialize in buy to hold. So that I buy 1 million shares of Meme today, and I will not be trading them for the next two years. Does that help the investor fight? Does it help the market? No. Because you are not trading that portfolio well. So we need a bigger mass of investors that are more willing to buy and trade heavily on a regular basis, whether it's a fund manager or they are client with a circle, a scheme, and of course a high net worth individual. So we need to raise that. We need more investors that are institutional, but I'm biased towards buying financial assets to trade, short term and not to hold. That's where it starts. So how many of them do we have right now? There are few. What could be the impact of the activities of the market? Quite small. But if we started on a journey that's focused on increasing on the pool of investors that buy to trade across equities and debt, and able to grow their portfolio over time, then it will eventually benefit the market. So you'll be able to wake up one day and say, okay, now I need to buy 10 million shares on Bank of Baroda counter, or 10 million shares on some big bank account, or even MTN, and there should be someone willing to supply that immediately. So, and then if you chose to dispose of that stock 3 months down the road, there should be someone ready to absorb that in your time at a reasonable price. But it starts with a realigning or restructuring the pool of investors that we have gradually.
Mr. Busula, finally, what advice would you have for both government and media and the regulator in a bid to promote financial markets literacy within the country and within the region? Because one of the challenges we are still facing is that very few people have embraced the word saving and investment. We still have so many people that are not into investing and more so saving. What one word of advice would you give to all these parties?
Actually, I would differ a bit. I think the idea of saving money in the country has improved largely because of the lockdown period. So if everyone understands why it's important to save, the question is how much. So now what we should be focusing on is on safeguards. And the question is, how do you protect people from wrong investment options like Ponzi schemes? So in this day and age, we ask ourselves how to save someone from getting 15 million shillings and investing it in capital chicken and losing their lifetime savings and then dying of depression. So that requires a mix of regulation coupled with enforcement and then more investor education on how to invest money that you have, not what is stolen, but away from why you should invest. Because the question of why you should invest has been sorted. The question is, how do you invest and safely at that?
And we promise to bring you all these interviews to your sitting room and get you moving in investment and saving. My name is Anthony. Thank you once again. Have a good night.
Smart 24, driving business.
Hello, with everybody for you. I did just shake bello. But it's not one tell.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock on my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together,